Hi there, Addie. Today we are going to do lesson number 38. This starts on page 153, so you can follow along in your book. And this is a great lesson. The concept is nice and simple. You're going to love it. And we go over ratio problems for you. So let's start with this cartoon. The poor cat is like inside with the window between him and like his dream as a cat, right? There's rodents and I like how it says small flightless birds. Oh my gosh. I thought this also has to do with ratios because you could figure out like how many rodents there are compared to how many birds, right? It would be some sort of ratio. And that's what a ratio is. So whenever you write a number separated by this fraction line, like 3/4, this is a ratio. And it's also a fraction, but another name for a fraction is a ratio. And the way that you say that is that you've written the ratio of 3 to 4. 3 to 4. So when you hear people say like 3 to 4 odds that someone's going to win, that's the fraction or the percentage or the ratio that you think that they might win. 3 out of 4 chances, right? And all of these ratios turned out can be reduced to 3/4. So these are all also ratios that are equivalent, just like the fractions would be equivalent. And so an equation, you can turn these into equations by just putting like an equal sign there, right? So 6 to 8, that can be reduced to 3/4. Obviously, 300 over 400, you can just simplify that and reduce it to 3/4. But did you know all of these also reduce to 3/4? This can be divided by 3, right? Because if you add up the digits, 1 plus 1 plus 1, you get 3, and that can be divided by 3. So you know that you can divide that by 3. So that's kind of cool. And then let's see, all of these can be simplified to 3/4. Now, how do you get a proportion? Okay, so if we look in the dictionary here, like Homer's looking in the dictionary, we would see a proportion is an equation or statement in which two ratios are equal. So here's a ratio, here's a ratio. A statement where they're equal, this is a proportion. So now if someone comes up to you in the hallway and they're like, hey, Addie, what's a proportion? You can be like, I know what a proportion is. It is easy. It's just an equation or statement in which two ratios are equal. And you can use that for a lot of purposes. I want to show you something cool. Oh, did you know this? I want to show you something cool about what you can do with proportion or a proportion, a statement like this. And what you can do is you can cross multiply. Now, I actually like to write it another way when I cross multiply because that sideways slash is kind of confusing to me. So I like to do 3 over 4 is equal to 15 over 20. And when you cross multiply, this is so cool and easy. You multiply 3 times 20. So we're going to go that way, and then we're also going to multiply 4 times 15. And did you know that when you have a statement or a proportion like this, the cross multiplication products are equal? So let's try it. Let's figure it out. Okay, so if we do 3 times 20, that's going to be 60 down here. If we do 4 times 15, that's going to be 60. Oh my heck. So 60 is equal to 60 is a true statement. And you can solve proportions that have an unknown by setting the cross products equal to each other. Okay, like, did you know this? This is so cool. All right, so here's how we would do something like that. Here's our unknown right here. Our unknown is this letter G. So we want to solve for G in a problem like this. What you would do, and let me move this over to the side a little bit so I have enough room, is we're going to cross multiply. So on one side of the equation, I'm going to have 7 times G, okay? What do I have on the other side? I have 5 times 91. Now, I don't know what that is right now without a calculator, so I'm just going to write it like that. 7 times G is equal to 5 times 91. Then I get out my calculator and I figure out that 7 times G is equal to 455. Now, that's easy. Let's just divide both sides by 7. These 7s cancel out. And so when they cancel out, I'm left with G is equal to 455 divided by 7, which again, if you get your calculator out for that, you're going to see that the problem solved is that G is equal to 65. Bam! So we took a proportion like this and we solved for G. I love doing this. This is super satisfying and fun. I know you're thinking this. I want to try. Okay, so when we set the cross products equal to each other, then we say that we have cross multiplied. That's just closing that loop of what it's called when we cross multiply. Okay, so let's do example 38.1. We've got a proportion like this. It's written the way I like it just because it makes it easier to visualize the cross products. So on one side, we have 4 times 5. So I'm going to write 4 times 5 is equal to, and the other side is going to be m times 21. I like to write 21m. I'm a little OCD. I just like to do it that way. So now 4 times 5, I can simplify that. That's just 20. And I can divide both sides by 21. And when the 21s cancel out on this side, I'm left with m is equal to 20 over 21. And that doesn't reduce anymore. So that's the final answer. Okay? All right, so now the book says, well, we're not going to use x for a variable. We're going to try not to use like just the regular x and y because that's kind of meaningless. So we're going to try and write things that make sense with the problem. Okay? So that's what we're going to do next. Look at that adorable goat. He's so funny. Oh my heck, wouldn't you love to have a goat like that? I'm going to delete him though because he's super distracting for this problem. And let's do example 38.1. The reason I put him there, the ratio of pigs to goats in the barnyard was 7 to 5. If there were 91 pigs, how many goats were there? Okay, we can figure this out. We have all the information we need to figure this out. They're talking about ratios, so we know we're going to use the information I gave you in this lesson. And the first thing we're going to do is just write something like this. The ratio of pigs to goats. That's what that would be. The ratio of pigs to goats is going to be equal to the number of pigs compared to the number of goats. Okay, so this is just simple ratio problems. And they tell you that, oh, did you know that if you wanted to do it the other way, the ratio of goats to pigs, you would get the same answer. It's okay. It doesn't matter which way you do it as long as you're consistent. You can't flip them in the middle of a problem, right? You have to be consistent because the ratio of goats to pigs is always going to be the same, or the ratio of pigs to goats is always going to be the same. Let's do pigs to goats because that's how it stated it in the problem. So the pig to goat ratio is 7 to 5. So instead of pigs, I'm going to write the number 7. And instead of goats, I'm going to write the number 5. Okay, and then it tells us there were 91 pigs. So that number is going to go right here where the P is for pigs. So there's 91 pigs, so I'm going to write 91. And it wants to know how many goats. So it wants to solve for G, which it looks like we set it up perfectly in order to solve this problem for G. Okay, so now we cross multiply. When we do that, we get 7G is equal to 91 times 5. 91 times 5. Okay, so then I'm going to get out my calculator and I figure out that 7G is equal to 455. I'm going to divide both sides by 7. Now it's just an easy algebra problem, right? And so G is equal to 455 divided by 7. But that's not a number of goats. Let's actually do the math on that. There are 65 goats when you plug that into your calculator. Bam! That's cool, huh? Look at this adorable duck. I kind of want to get ducks next. That would be awesome. But they need like a water source and they would probably swim in our pool. So maybe that wouldn't be a great idea. All right, let's do example 38.3. In the same barnyard, this is my future dream barnyard, okay? The ratio of chickens to ducks was 9 to 4. Okay, so we're going to be doing a chicken-duck ratio. Okay, so I'm going to write that. The ratio of chickens to ducks was 9 to 4. The way that they did it in the book, just to show you that it doesn't matter, is they did ducks to chickens is equal to ducks to chickens. So let's do it that way to be consistent with the book, but you could do it either way. So in the same barnyard, the ratio of chickens to ducks was 9-4. There were 108 chickens. How many ducks were there? Okay, easy peasy. We got this. So the ratio of chickens to ducks was 9-4. Now I put a C here and a D here. So I want to plug in the right numbers. Chickens to ducks is 9-4. So chickens were 9. Ducks are 4. So this is a ratio of chickens to ducks, 9-4. It's just upside down. Then it tells us that there were 108 chickens. So where does that go? That goes here where the C is, 108. Now, as long as you set up this problem correctly, you're going to get the right answer here. You are totally going to get the right answer when we cross multiply. So we're going to cross multiply. I like to do the one with the variable first. So 9D, I changed it to a lowercase d, but whatever, it doesn't matter, equals 108 times 4. So what is 108 times 4? I don't know yet. That's okay. I'm going to just move on. Divide it by 9. Okay. D is equal to 108 times 4 divided by 9. Now, if you put all of that in your calculator, you will get that the number of ducks is 48. You should not get a fraction or a decimal here, right? Because you can't have half a duck. So it should be a whole number, if this problem makes sense. Okay, and guess what? That is it for today's lesson, Addie. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day. Love you. Bye.